Hey friends, welcome back to Big Nate's Whiskey Lounge. I am Nate, coming at you with the Smokewagon line. Smokewagon is a distillery out of Las Vegas, Nevada. However, they are an NDP at this time, non-distilling producer, and they source their whiskey from MGP in Indiana. In my opinion, Smokewagon is one of the front runners for showing what blending is in whiskey and how important it is. And a lot of people overlook it. A lot of people don't think much about it. But especially, in my opinion, Uncut, Unfiltered is just a prime example of what a really good master blender can do. So we're going to give these a try. This is basically the core lineup. Now, availability is going to vary by region. So I know some of you may not have access to Uncut, Unfiltered. Some of you may not even have access to small batch. Some of you may not have access to Smokewagon altogether. But I hope you do. And if you do, I hope this review helps you in your purchasing decisions. Now, there are other offerings from Smokewagon. There's some private barreling, some special releases, things like that. A couple of other channels recently have put out some videos, so go check them out. One that comes to mind, Trev Wilson from Bourbon Wrench did a video on, I believe it was called Smokewagon Uncut the Younger. Go check that video out. But we're going to give these a pour. This is Smokewagon. This is just straight bourbon whiskey, nothing fancy labeled on it. This is going to be 46.25%, 92.5 proof. So we're going to give this a try. This is kind of the entry one. Now, this is the one, if you ever, in your stores, this is the bottle that they use to do like holiday bottlings. They'll do a Halloween edition bottle, a Christmas edition bottle. I believe they might have done St. Patrick's Day, something like that. But they take this bottle, and obviously because it's just printed on it, they'll just put a different design for whatever holiday it is. Now, this is going to be small batch. This comes in at 100 proof, 50%. And I've already poured a little bit of this because before I started shooting, I decided to make this my kind of just start up, get going whiskey, good at 100 proof. So it was a good kind of, let's have some whiskey today. So it kind of prepped me for some for my shoots. This is going to be Uncut, Unfiltered. Now, my bottle comes in at 56.21%, which is 112.42 proof. This is batch number 65, and it was bottled on May 18th of 2021. So this bottle is just a little, as I'm shooting it, this is May 14th. So this is just a couple days shy of being a year-old bottle. And what's really cool is the batches. So they've been pumping out batches for a while now. Now the master blender took his time, and I really appreciate it and I really respect that. Took his time. So batches like 1 through somewhere in the 30s took a really, really, really long time to come out because he was mastering his blend, deciding what he liked and what was best to put out there. And then come the late 30s to the 40s, all of a sudden it just clicked and he just started cranking them out. So right now they're in like the 110s, I think. And we've only done a year, so they've almost doubled their batches. Now, what's cool about Smokewagon, specifically you see these two bottles, they are the same. The little coloring on the decal things, these are just like clay molds. And then the stickering is different, but the bottles are the same. It's this embossed flowery pattern, really cool. They had a bottle shortage from, I believe, May through October of 2021. So they had to switch to clear bottles. Same embossing, same everything, but they were clear, not this amber color. Because I believe these are sourced from a place in Germany. And so it took them, they had a bottle shortage, so they had to come up with something else. Now they were able to keep the embossing on it, but they had to do clear bottles. So batches, I believe 60, well, this is 65, so it was like after that. So like 68 through 70 something were clear. A buddy of mine, I mentioned in a video a couple days ago, was able to he was looking for Uncut Unfiltered during the shortage, so he was able to buy a bottle of the clear, and he has now purchased a bottle of the amber since then. I can find all three in my area pretty regularly. This is everywhere. The straight bourbon is everywhere. This is pretty much a standard as well. This is a little hard to find. However, I got a bit of a honey hole that actually has it pretty much almost all the time. They always have a couple bottles on the shelf, so I'm a little lucky and I'm a little spoiled with that, and I don't take that for granted. And because of that, I've actually, if anybody's looking for it in my area, they always ask me, they're like, hey, I need you to grab a bottle for me. I don't disclose where I get it because I don't want it to always just dry up, but I will go and I will get them a bottle. And so we're going to give this a shot. Pretty nose, a light nose, decent color on it. Really no legs whatsoever. There's really no legs. I did a little bit of research. Like I mentioned, this is MGP juice. So I did some research on the mash bill. And according to the research I discovered on the internet, the mash bill is 60% corn, 36% rye, and 4% malted barley. So it is very high rye. It's actually double what a high rye would be. High rye is considered at 18. This is double that. Which I'm a huge fan of rye, so I'm glad to have that big of a mash bill. I'm getting a little bit of rye spice on the nose, which is nice. There's a little corny. I'm not necessarily getting youth. Maybe just a touch. Because I'm assuming, and I don't know, we don't know the ages. It's straight, which means it's a minimum of 2. However, it's not age stated, so we know that it's at least 4. There's oak, vanilla, caramel, pretty classic bourbon. Because again, MGP, you can look at your shelf in the liquor store and probably at least a third to maybe even 50% of the bourbon that's on the shelf comes from MGP. So even if you're not familiar with MGP, you've probably had MGP. Pretty light on the taste. Goes down smooth. There's not much. The finish is coming up now. Nice hug. It's good. It's kind of one-noted. It's not doing a whole ton for me as far as flavor goes. This is a really good sipping whiskey, though. I always forget how good this is because I always tend to go to these two. But this is a really good pour. And I believe 40, 60, 80 is what these cost in my area. And I'm okay. I'm okay with the price points of that. 40, 60, 80. However, I did find a buddy that found this for 70 the other day, so I'm a little jealous of him. Maybe a little bit of cherry. Actually, I kind of got orange peel on that. Yeah, there's kind of like a citrusy orangey peel vibe to that. All right. Good. Yeah, this is just different proof points. Ooh, the nose on this is a little bit prettier. This is a little bit sharper as far as the ethanol goes. Maybe a touch more metallic. This is a little bit prettier, a little bit more floral. Almost like it's kind of getting like what's coming to mind is a fruit basket that was arranged at a flower shop. And my grandparents growing up, my mom's parents owned a flower shop when I was a kid. And so they would do fruit baskets, they would do candy baskets, they would do floral arrangements. So a candy or a fruit basket coming out of a flower shop is actually something I know. Weird, but it's true. Almost like a honeydew, kind of a melony. It's juicy, but it's not like a honeydew is juicy, but not very dominant. But it's, that's kind of what I'm getting. A little bit more on the legs, but I understand we're jumping up a little bit. We're not jumping up a ton. What's this, 46.25? This is 50, so we're jumping up 3.75 proof points. We're not jumping up a ton. 3.75%. They're not jumping up a ton, but the flavor difference is actually dude. There's a decent flavor difference between the two. Really good. I do prefer the small batch over the straight. However, both really, really good. If we were to do, if you watched a couple weeks ago, I would have done my top 5 bourbons, and I did my top 5 ryes. Of course, I had a lot more in that list than just 5. This would be kind of a daily sipper. This would be maybe a Friday night pour. And this would be either impress your friends or special occasion. This bottle is my first bottle I've ever owned, and I actually haven't dwindled it down a lot. And part of that is because when I go to my cigar, there's some of my buddies bringing in the cigar lounge. So while I've drank Uncut Unfiltered quite a bit. I've been spoiled in the fact that I haven't actually had to dip into my bottle a whole ton. I've been able to drink other people's bottles. So now they've been bottles that I bought for them. Of course, they pay me for it, so it's not like it's a gift or anything. And in full disclosure, when I buy it for people, I only charge them what the retail price is. So, for example, this is $80, $79.99. After taxes, probably like $83. I only make the person pay me $80. I actually enjoy somebody asking me to get them a bottle. I enjoy that so much that I just want them to have it for what the retail is. I don't actually charge them the taxes that it costs me. But let's give Uncut Unfiltered a shot. The nose is kind of matched between these. There's a difference between these two, but not much between these two as far as nose goes. It's all the same mash bill, so it's really just the concentration levels. Cherry. Maybe a little bit of graham cracker. Sweet. Proof got me there. I thought it would just go nice and easy. So the way I drank it was like, I drank it not carefully. So it hit me. Ooh, that clings a lot. It's actually, the Uncut Unfiltered is very oily. It's clinging. I got a little bit in front of my teeth. I got a little bit to the sides. This clings. It's really, really good. I haven't drank Smokewagon in a little while, and I forget how good it is. Probably, and I do that because I put it on. Like I'm not always going to this, or this, and this one is. I put it in high prestige, so I very rarely reach for it. Man, I forgot how good Smokewagon is. It's floral. It's floral like the small batch is. So this kind of went fruity, and then floral fruity, and then floral. I almost feel like the sides of my mouth just bit into a rose petal. I don't know. It's weird. All right, build one video, 3 whiskeys. That's been Smokewagon, straight, small batch, Uncut Unfiltered. Recommend you get in a bottle. Make sure you do your research beforehand. Make sure that you are getting a decent price for it. Just because I paid $70 for it doesn't mean that you're going to. Or $80 doesn't mean you're going to pay more. Doesn't mean you're going to pay less. That's always subjective to the region that you're in. Just make sure that when you buy a whiskey, especially something like Uncut Unfiltered, which is very highly desired, make sure that you are going in with making sure that you are being financially conscious of your budget, of your wallet, and you're not making a mistake. You won't make a mistake buying it, but just make sure that you are financially in position to do so. I want to stress that a lot. And I appreciate you guys being around for another whiskey video. I'll see you guys next time. Check me out on Instagram. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't already subscribed, that would be fantastic. I'll see you next time.